Hello. In this week's Torah portion, Beshallach, we read the following, quote, Now, when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although it was nearer. For God said, The people may have a change of heart when they see war and return to Egypt. So God led the people roundabout by way of the wilderness and the Sea of Reeds. Unquote. So God took them on a longer route so they wouldn't have to face an enemy so soon. But the next line is both puzzling and unsettling. chamushim alu bnei Israel me'eretz Mitzrayim. Now the Israelites went up chamushim out of the land of Egypt. The word chamushim has been the subject of much debate. It's usually translated as armed. Its plain meaning, now the Israelite went up armed out of the land of Egypt. It's used that way in 3 other places in the Bible, twice in the book of Joshua and once in the book of Judges. For some, this consistency is enough to understand the meaning to be indeed armed. So why is it puzzling? Because, 1, if they were armed, why would they be afraid? After all, they know they will have to conquer the promised land. Why is the Torah telling us that they were armed in a context that says that they were scared? And where did these arms come from? Nowhere is it said that they despoiled the Egyptian army before leaving. And third, why weren't they under God's direct protection? God split the sea for them and did not tell them to fight the Egyptians with whatever arms they may have had. And what's unsettling about that? The fact that the Mechilta, a halachic Midrash on Exodus, has a very different understanding, which has the effect of a bombshell. Quote, this means 1 out of 5, chamishah, went out of Egypt. So, only 20% of the Israelites went out of Egypt in the Exodus. The rest did not want to leave. They were used to being slaves and be given at least a minimum of what they needed and did not want to face the unknown, the desert, and a vastly different way of life. They preferred the devil they knew. Even those who left complained nonstop. Here's a sample. Quote, the Israelites said to Moses, leave us alone because we would rather serve the Egyptians than die in the desert. The Israelites wept and said, if only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish that we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. Now our gullets are shriveled. There is nothing at all, nothing but this manna to look at. End of quote. As the same Mechilta says, Kol hatchilot kashot. All beginnings are difficult. Rashi endorses this explanation, which gave it a lot of weight among later commentators. Quote, another explanation of chamushim is only 1 out of 5, chamishah, went forth from Egypt, and 4 out of 5 died during the 3 days of darkness because they were unworthy of being delivered. Unquote. He echoes the Midrash, quote, why did the Holy One, blessed be He, blessed be His name, before whom there is no favoritism, and who examines the innermost thoughts and feelings, bring the plague of darkness upon them? It is because there were sinners among the Israelites who had Egyptian patrons, had wealth and honor, and did not want to leave. The Holy One, blessed be He, said, if I bring a plague upon them publicly and they die, the Egyptians will say, just as it befell us, so it befell them. We are not singled out for punishment. Therefore, He brought darkness upon the Egyptians for 3 days, so the Israelites could bury their dead and their enemies would not see them, and they would praise the Holy One, blessed be He, for it. End of quote. But how could the Israelites bury their dead in the dark? Because the Torah says they did not feel the darkness. Quote, and the Israelites enjoyed light in their dwellings. Unquote. But this subterfuge raises some questions. First, wouldn't the Egyptian notice that 80% of the Jews were missing when the light came back? Wouldn't the Torah itself mention such a horrendous calamity more explicitly instead of letting commentators derive it? And third, could it be that with all Israelites reduced to slavery, as many as 80% had powerful Egyptian patrons? Contemporary Rav Yehuda Henkin believes that God took the Israelites by a circuitous route because they were demoralized by the fact that so many of their brethren stayed behind, and God wanted to give them some quiet time and reduce their incentive to rejoin their brethren in Egypt. Targum Yerushalmi, an ancient translation of the Bible in Aramaic, says that chamushim means that the Israelites left Egypt armed with good deeds. Yonatan ben Uziel, who is said to be the greatest of Hillel's 80 students, said in his Targum that chamushim means that every Israelite who left Egypt went out with 5 children not his own. The Be'er Yosef said that the parents of these children died in the plague of darkness for refusing to leave Egypt. Their adoption by those who left are the good deeds mentioned in the Targum. But as if that weren't bad enough, the Mechilta continues, quote, others say 1 out of 50, chamishim, left Egypt, and still others say 1 of 500, chamesh me'ot. Rabbi Nehorai says, upon my oath, it was not 1 in 500 that went out, but fewer, unquote. Ibn Ezra from 12th century Muslim Spain is positively revolted by this explanation. Quote, this is a lone opinion and is not at all a received tradition. If true, this would not have been redemption for the Jews, but a sick evil. This is the opposite of the Torah texts. The whole thing is a Midrash. Don't rely on it. Maybe the one who said it at the outset had a hidden reason, unquote. This is profoundly upsetting. Here are 2 possible ways to diffuse the controversy. 1. The 80% who did not leave Egypt includes all the Jews who died in Egypt since Israel emigrated there centuries earlier. That would make the number of live ones who stayed in Egypt at the time of the Exodus a much smaller fraction of the live ones. 2. Contemporary Rav Simon Shimon Schwab suggests that the 80% includes all the Jews who might have been born in the future if their progenitors in Egypt had lived and had ancestors and had descendants, instead of dying for refusing to leave Egypt. So when the Messiah discusses whether it was 1 in 5, 1 in 50, 1 in 100, it's simply arguing about how many descendants those who stayed in Egypt might have had until the end of time. An example of this argument is in the Torah. When Cain killed Abel, God said to him, the sound of your brother's bloods cries out to me from the grounds. Blood is in the plural. The Talmud interprets bloods to mean that both Abel's blood and the blood of the descendants he might have had he lived. A midrash is either a communication of historical facts or a parable made up to teach us a lesson. If the latter, what is the lesson in our midrash? Simply this. The ancient rabbis wanted to remind us that in every generation, only a small minority among the Jews preserved Judaism and ensured its continuity. The rest did not care or did not care enough. Are you in that minority? Shabbat Shalom.